Alright, let's catch up on The Boys. Now, I think it was episode 5, that's a long way into an 8-episode season, right? The penultimate season. I made that video, 2 weeks ago, has The Boys dropped off, and I didn't say it had, because it's still very entertaining, and it's still a good watch, but this season, at this point, I don't care really what setup we get for the next season in the next 3 episodes. This season as a whole just feels like wheel spinning. It actually reminds me of the later seasons of Game of Thrones, and I'll tell you why. And this is coming from a Game of Thrones superfan. I thought the show Game of Thrones started being bad from season 5. And no one else, except for hardcore fans, really seemed to agree with that. The Boys is like that now, where the show has become very meta, where the jokes, the memes people make online seemingly are having an impact on what the writers do, on what the writers make the characters do. That was like Game of Thrones, where Tyrion, for example, Peter Dinklage, the general masses thought, oh, Tyrion Lannister, he's the funny, quippy one that drinks. And then after season 4, and Tyrion, by the way, is a very dark character. He had just come from killing his father, his former lover, and then he goes into season 5, not so much season 5, but after that, but this was the transition, and then he just became the, I make jokes and I drink. He even has a line like that in the series.
I drink and I know things.
His character suffered for years after that. It was a terrible character, became a terrible character. That's The Boys. Homelander, and I said this in my previous video, he walks into a room, makes people uncomfortable, lasers them. That's like the joke online, and now it's true. And so I think the meta around the show is influencing it a little too much. I'm rewatching season 1 right now. Season 1 is a very serious season. I forgot how serious in tone it was. It's very funny, but it's also very serious. Where so far now, season 4 feels like a comedy first and foremost. So I think the tone has reversed almost. Season 1's really great. Every episode leads to something, ends on a plot-changing moment. Season 1, Translucent gets kidnapped. Episode 1. Episode 2, Translucent gets killed. Like this whole episode really, episode 5 of season 4, was just them walking around on a farm. The flying goats, the killer animals, is funny. It's entertaining. It's well done. But at this point in the show's life, flying goats being the biggest threat is not what I want. There has to be a bigger picture. We have to be, and we are moving towards it slowly, but it's not the forefront of the story, it feels like. Butcher has always been great, but he feels too sidelined in this season. Huey and his dad, their arc, it's sad, it's tragic, but it doesn't feel like it has a bigger impact on the bigger story. So it's like, what's the point? Frenchie and his whole arc this season is driving me nuts. It feels like a teenage girl, complaining that her crush at high school didn't look at her or ignored her texts. It just feels so melodramatic, out of character, and boring. It feels forced. It's awful. Kimiko, you can tell they're doing a mental health for men kind of thing here with Frenchie as well. Kimiko's always like, are you okay? Tell me what's going on. Because men don't talk about their feelings. And it just feels forced. I don't like it. Starlight, it's the Homelander show. Without him, it fails. I don't know. I'm not done with the show. It's very entertaining, like I said, but something needs to happen that really pushes this shit forward. Otherwise, this season is just going to feel like it could have been skipped. So yeah, that's what I think of The Boys. Bye.